Hello, hello. Good afternoon, y'all. Good afternoon. I'm hoping y'all are able to hear me correctly. Good afternoon. It's 5 o'clock. I think that's still afternoon. Hey, 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 hey. Are y'all able to hear me well? Just want to make sure. Okay, perfect. All right. So, hey, Ayana. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right. So, I told y'all I figured out how to stream from both YouTube and TikTok. So that's what I'm doing. I'm streaming on both right now. So if you are watching from YouTube, hello. Um Now it limits a little bit. Like I see comments and everything, but it limits it's just a little off. So I'm still working on that, but I'm able to see y'all. So today I'll just start with what everybody normally comes here for, and that's the YSL trial. I watched today. It was pretty boring. Detective Thorpe testified. We all remember Detective Thorpe. Woody told us he had the brain the size of a pea. He testified today. So there's that. Um, but I don't want to talk about YSL today. I want to talk about Sean Combs, aka Diddy, aka P. Diddy, and all those other names that he goes by. So if you are here because you saw my post, and that means you already know that he was arrested yesterday in New York, in Manhattan. And this morning, the indictment was released, or it was unsealed. So we have the indictment, and since I posted this morning, we got a couple other things going on actually. He filed a motion for bond to be released, offered a couple things, offered that his house be put up as collateral, his mansion that's worth about $50 million or so, cost $18 million, but worth about $15 million, completely paid off mansion. And among other things, he offered that his entire family, all of his minor kids, would put up their passports, which is interesting. A very creative way to attempt to get bond, but apparently it was denied, y'all, and he will not have a bond. So it's safe to say that the case against him is pending. He has been arrested based on an indictment by a grand jury. Now, the saying goes that you can indict a ham sandwich, or you can use a ham sandwich to indict, whatever the saying is. The point is, it doesn't take much to get an indictment. The standard is not super duper high, but we know that he has a, we'll say a his reputation is that he is engaged in this type of behavior over time. We hear all kinds of rumors and see all kinds of posts and anecdotes, if you will, about some of these parties. And yeah, so it's on, like it's here. We don't know if this is going to end up in a trial or not, because he could take a plea. But that's the only way out at this point, unless by miracle the charges are dismissed. But where we are is either trial or plea. And according to what his attorney said, they plan on going to trial. They plan on fighting this vigorously. If that's true, we don't really know. Any attorney would say that, especially at the outset of a case, but they don't have discovery yet. They don't know what evidence there is. So thank you, Jay. I appreciate it. Yeah. So, oh yes, the IV drips, and we gonna get into all of that, y'all. So I want to thank you, Jay. I want to, let me go ahead and establish my goals for this live. First, I want to say on YouTube, I absolutely have a goal. My first goal is 1,000 subscribers. I think I have like 100 subscribers or whatnot. So if you are on TikTok, please go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel. At some point soon, I'm going to shift my lives over to YouTube, and likely it'll be rare that I go on TikTok live. So go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's the exact same name as my Instagram and my TikTok. Um and then my goals for this live on TikTok. I'm looking for 100. I think 100K is reasonable because we about to get into it. And I don't have a follower goal. I just think if you for me, you for me. So I don't have a follower goal. But 100K likes is what I'm looking for. So let's get into it. We're gonna start with the indictment, and then we're gonna read. I mean, we know it was denied, but I think it's still interesting to read the bond motion, so we will do that as well. Hey, Gail. Thank you, Tiffany. Let me find it. All right. Okay, so let's get into it. Let's get into it. All right, so this is the indictment. Y'all give me a heart, give me a red heart if y'all can see it. I can see it on my screen. Just want to make sure y'all can see it. Excuse me. Excuse me. All right. Perfect. All right, so let's get into it. Come on, green snakes. Y'all is so petty. Y'all is so petty. All right. Thank you, Martina. Y'all are so petty. I love it. All right. Okay, so let's get into it. Let's get into it. This is the indictment. It's filed in federal court. Obviously, these are federal charges. Um, and it's the United States of America. Y'all, Diddy is going up against the federal government, the United States of America. This case is in the Southern District of New York in federal court. We'll start with count 1, racketeering conspiracy. So, for decades, Sean Combs, aka Puff Daddy, aka P. Diddy, aka Diddy, aka PD, aka Love, they missed a few. The defendant abused, threatened, and coerced women and others around him to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct. To do so, Combs relied on the employees, resources, and influence of the multifaceted business empire that he led and controlled, creating a criminal enterprise whose members and associates engaged in and attempted to engage in, among other crimes, sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. So just there, I'm already seeing general, but some of the things that we have heard in the media, I'm already seeing them allude to some of that stuff. Sean Combs, aka Puff Daddy, aka P. Diddy, aka Diddy, aka PD, aka Love, the defendant, operated his business and headquartered at various times in Manhattan and Los Angeles under a variety of United States-based corporate entities, including Bad Boy Entertainment, Combs Enterprises, and Combs Global, collectively the Combs Business. Corporate entities in the Combs business included, among other things, record labels, a recording studio, an apparel line, an alcoholic spirits business, a marketing agency, and a television network and media company. So what they're doing in these first paragraphs is just establishing jurisdiction over the case, that he's conducted business. Some of this stuff has happened in Manhattan. Some of it has happened in New York. And just kind of painting a picture for what they expect the evidence to show. At all times relevant to this indictment, Sean Combs, and I'm not going to keep reading, y'all, we get it, aka Love, the defendant, engaged in a persistent and pervasive pattern of abuse toward women and other individuals. This abuse was at times verbal, emotional, physical, and sexual. As a part of his pattern of abuse, Combs manipulated women to participate in highly orchestrated performances of sexual activity with male commercial sex workers. At times, Combs and others, acting at his discretion, made arrangements for women and commercial sex workers to fly to Combs' location. Combs ensured participation from the women by, among other things, obtaining and distributing narcotics to them, controlling their careers, leveraging his financial support, and threatening to cut off the same, and using intimidation and violence. Physical abuse by Sean Combs, the defendant, was recurrent and widely known. On numerous occasions from at least in or about 2009 and for continuing years, Combs assaulted women by, among other things, striking, punching, dragging, throwing objects at them, and kicking them. So right there, the fact that they put a year on it tells us that they have some sort of evidence, even if it's just testimony, even if it's just anecdotes from people to suggest that something happened. They have evidence going back as far as 2009 of these things, is what it would appear. For them to put a specific date on it like that makes me feel like they, this is where it begins. Somebody said, I guess P Valley stole his story too. Y'all play too much. Y'all play too much. All right. These assaults were at times witnessed by, and we're about to get into the Cassie situation, witnessed by others, and included one instance at a Los Angeles hotel in or about March 2016, which was captured on video and later publicly reported, where Combs kicked, dragged, and threw a vase at a woman as she was attempting to leave. When a member of the hotel security staff intervened, Combs attempted to bribe the staff member to ensure silence. We obviously are talking about Cassie. Thank you, Inez. Combs' violence was also not limited to these women. It extended to his employees, witnesses to his abuse, and others. Sean Combs, the defendant, used the Combs business, including certain employees, to carry out, facilitate, and cover up his abuse and commercial sex. These employees included security staff, household staff, personal assistants, and high-ranking supervisors and other close associates acted as Combs' intermediaries, and their conduct was facilitated and assisted by Combs' control of the Combs business, right? So all of this is trying to establish the fact that this was racketeering, that this was a conspiracy, that it was not just him, that he used his power and his money and his influence to get people around him to participate in this as well. Now, I want to say this. Just because it's a conspiracy doesn't mean that everybody has to be charged. We see that, obviously, right? In the YSL case, a lot of them were charged, but not everybody was charged. Some people are just used as witnesses. So he could be the only person that is charged, but based on the way that they're setting up this indictment, I doubt it. I doubt that he's going to be the only person that's charged in this case. Like, I would highly doubt it. All right. The Combs enterprise, from at least in or about 2008, on or about the date of the filing of this indictment, through on or about the date of the filing of this indictment, Sean Combs, the defendant, and others known and unknown, were members and associates of a criminal organization, the Combs Enterprise, or the Enterprise. Now, I had to read this a couple times because they are not saying that his legitimate businesses are a criminal enterprise. They're saying the conspiracy. So the people that are involved in the conspiracy, even if whether they work for him or not, those people are a part of the Combs enterprise. So they are not saying that Bad Boy as a record label is a criminal enterprise. That's not what I'm gathering. I don't think they're making the same kind of accusations that Georgia is doing in the YSL case. Like that YSL is just a cover for the gang that's a criminal enterprise. That's not what I'm gathering. It seems as though they're just calling the Combs enterprise. They're labeling it that, even though he has a legal separate entity that's an actual enterprise. I could be wrong. Maybe they're just jumbling it all together, but that's the way that I understand it. They're just saying he has people that work for him, that he has created this criminal enterprise, and we're going to call it the Combs enterprise. And yes, that overlaps with some of his legitimate businesses. Members and associates of the Combs enterprise engaged in and attempted to engage in, among other activities, sex trafficking, forced labor, interstate transportation for purposes of prostitution. There go your charges right there. Coercion and enticement to engage in prostitution, narcotics offenses, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. The The Combs Enterprise, including its leadership, its members, and associates, constituted an enterprise as defined by Title 18. This is the RICO statute. By Title 18, United States Code Section 19614, that is a group of individuals associated in fact, although not a legal entity. Correct. So they're not saying that his legal LLCs or businesses are criminal enterprise. They are labeling anyone who is a part of this conspiracy as a part of the Combs enterprise. That arson, right. So Jess said that arson got to be when he blew up Kid Cudi's car. It's not funny, y'all. I got to be careful about the way I talk. I want to make sure my live is shared. So that situation may be from that. It's the only person I've heard, any kind of allegations about that. But yeah, maybe that's what it is. Y'all, I ain't gonna lie. This is crazy. This is outrageous. Okay, the Combs Enterprise consisted of Sean Combs and all of his aliases, entities within the Combs business, so entities within his legal business, including but not limited to Bad Boy Entertainment, Combs Enterprises, the legal business, and Combs Global. Individuals employed by and associated with the Combs business, and others known and unknown. It's a lot, y'all. This is wild, Missy. This is wild. The Combs Enterprise constituted an ongoing organization whose members function as a continuing unit for a common purpose for achieving the objectives of the Combs Enterprise. The Combs Enterprise was engaged in and its activities affected interstate and foreign commerce. That's a requirement for it to be a federal crime, y'all. So let's get into it. The reason why this is not a state crime is because these crimes crossed state boundaries. One of the easiest ways, this is why it is when they want to, the feds are able to charge, for example, charges related to weapons, I'll say. So I can buy a weapon in the state of Florida and potentially still be charged with a federal crime because most weapons are made, they cross state boundaries. That's called interstate commerce. So most of them are made and sold at some point in other states. So that is a requirement as it relates to like a federal crime. So they're talking about interstate commerce and the fact that this was done across the country to confirm that they have jurisdiction for it. That's where that comes from. All right. The Combs Enterprise was engaged in and its activities affected interstate and foreign commerce. The Combs Enterprise operated in the Southern District of New York and elsewhere. Southern District of New York is where this case was filed and where he is currently being housed in jail. At all times relevant to this indictment, Sean Combs was the leader of the Combs Enterprise. They are making sure they label him as the head honcho in charge. Not some... Y'all, we got Diddy in the comments talking about y'all done lock me up. Lord, y'all play too much. Y'all play way too much. We got Diddy in the chat. Diddy in the chat. All right, Sean Combs, the defendant, and others known and unknown. And that's a hint that they're likely still investigating. And they are definitely going to be reaching out to some of these co-conspirators and potential witnesses to get agreements and statements from them related to the prosecution. And you better believe a lot of people are going to be giving information. That's just the way it goes. Participated in unlawful and other activities related to the conduct of the Combs Enterprises affairs. These individuals included certain Combs business employees, such as members of Combs security staff, household staff, personnel assistants, and high-ranking supervisors, as well as other close associates of Combs. They're not giving these areas of people because they're giving them because they have ideas about who specifically was involved, right? So you're not just gonna say his security staff unless you have at least a concept, or I would hope you have a concept of who you might think those people are. Purposes of the Combs Enterprise. The purposes of the Combs Enterprise included the following: operating a global business in the media, entertainment, and lifestyle industries, including, among other things, record labels, a recording studio, an apparel line, an alcoholic spirits business, a marketing agency, and a television network and company. Preserving, protecting, promoting, and enhancing the power, reputation, and brand. Here we go. This is important for Rico. That's the conspiracy, right? What was the point of this enterprise? To preserve, protect, promote, and enhance the power, reputation, and brand of Sean Combs, the defendant, as a musician, entrepreneur, and figure in the entertainment industry, enriching members and associates of the enterprise. Because remember, an enterprise doesn't only have to commit one crime, right? So obviously, his sexual desires are not the goal of the entire enterprise. That's not everybody's goal. So they're encompassing any potential crimes and the purposes and the goals of the enterprise. Child, that's everything Miami got except the alcohol. Lord, y'all play too much. The way this going, Deleon and Ciroc about to be $5. We not Diddy's baby oil. Why y'all play so much? I call it not Diddy's baby oil. Wow, y'all are sick. Y'all are some sick people. Y'all are sick, okay? Y'all play too much. Oh my goodness. All right. Preserving, protecting, promoting, and enhancing the power of the Combs enterprise, including the power of its leaders, Combs, through violence, use of firearms, threats of violence, coercion, and verbal, emotional, physical, and sexual abuse. Fulfilling the personal desires of Combs, particularly those related to Combs' sexual gratification, including the exploitation of women and the use of commercial sex workers. Somebody in the comments, let me know, where are we with likes? Where are we at? I want to make sure we get to I want to make sure my goal is met, y'all. Not you done changed your name to Diddy's baby oil and you stuck with it. Oh no. Thank you, Armani. Okay, 10.1. Okay. I see y'all. 10% of the goal. We got this. All right. Diddy's baby oil. You're going to be Diddy's baby oil for the next 7 days. I'm so sorry. Okay. Enabling Combs and other members of associates of the Combs enterprise to engage in unlawful acts of violence, including sexual violence, sex trafficking, forced labor, interstate transportation for purposes of prostitution, coercion, and enticement. Baby, if TikTok or YouTube is not, I don't even know what I'm supposed to say. Am I allowed to say these things on TikTok? Yeah, I like, what y'all want me to do? This is important public information, TikTok. So don't be mad at me. This is important. This is necessary for the public to know. So, hi, Angel. Desiree said, nope, I'm not supposed to be saying this. Sorry. I don't know what they expect from me. All right. I'm moving on. At least I ain't cussing. Like, what do y'all want from me? All right. Enticement to engage in prostitution, narcotics distribution, and other crimes, and concealing the commission of such acts. Concealment is going to be a big deal. Concealment is always a big deal in conspiracy because some of the least culpable people are going to be guilty of trying to conceal. Securing absolute loyalty from members of the Combs enterprise, including through acts of violence and threats. Protecting the Combs enterprise and its members and associates, including Combs, from detection and prosecution by law enforcement authorities through acts of intimidation, manipulation, bribery, and threats of retaliation against individuals who witnessed the crimes committed by members and associates of the enterprise. We didn't even get, Desiree said that man is nasty and disturbed. We didn't even get there. Attorney Star said, who's going to be getting him cheesecake at the, listen. I need to reach out to, I'm going to reach out to Fred, y'all. Maybe he might want to get on live. I'm gonna reach out to Fred, y'all, from Making the Band, and see if he might want to hop on live and have a discussion about this. But that'll be for another day. Um, y'all, I'm just going through comments. I'm sorry. Y'all are so funny. R. Kelly's gonna make room for him. Y'all play too much. Mm, 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 mm. Somebody said, when is everybody who invite Chopper? So I don't know him. I know Fred. He's family, really, quite frankly. Um, but I don't know. I don't know Chopper. Y'all play too much. I don't know when everybody else is getting arrested. Who knows? We don't know if anybody else is gonna get arrested. They might be satisfied with just arresting Diddy. They said Chopper's a. Did he go to jail? I feel like I vaguely remember reading that somewhere. The indictment is 14 pages. Um, Absolutely, Fred ain't play that at all. Diddy's baby oil said Fred was my favorite. He was cool and unbothered until Ness tried to play with him, and that's why head to rug. That's exactly why. I wonder what 50 been petty all day. He has been petty all day. Yeah, it's only 14 pages. Y'all play too much. Y'all play entirely too much. Um, Whoa, 50K? Oh no, 50. Y'all talking about 50 cents. Y'all don't I was gonna say, whoa. Hi. Y'all know I get very distracted in these comments. 50 gonna tell him to plead the fifth. Oh my goodness. 50 has rights to his documentary to Diddy's. I mean, the thing about a documentary is he's a public figure. So there'll be some limitations, but it will be hard for him to stop anybody from making content or, about this. He's a public figure. So, yeah, y'all play too much. All right. Combs and other members and associates of the Combs enterprise wielded the power and prestige of Combs' role at the Combs business to intimidate, threaten, and lure female victims into Combs' orbit, often under the pretense of a romantic relationship. Combs then used force, threats of force, and coercion to cause victims to engage in extended sex acts with male commercial sex workers that Combs referred to as, among other things, freak offs. Y'all, if they put this in the indictment and put it in quotes, they either have someone saying that he called them freak offs, or some of this video footage that they seized has him saying freak offs. Which one it is, I don't know. I didn't realize, because I haven't read the full indictment yet. I just kind of skimmed through it. I didn't realize people were saying freak offs because it was in the indictment. That is crazy. Attorney Starr said, what else would you call him? I don't know. But that is, I didn't know he was calling them freak offs. Cassie called them freak offs. So Cassie told them. Interesting too. Um, right. So I've been hearing people say freak offs, but I didn't know they were his words. I didn't realize, I just thought we kind of named them freak offs as the public. I didn't know that was a thing for real, for real. No, not yet. Born Diva said, is there any info about what they found in the house and on the videos? We know they have videos. We know they found baby oil and lube and whatnot, but other than little leaks, little things, it's gonna be hard until they start actually filing discovery. So like I was able to go into and to get the indictment and the motion myself. Like I was able to get that information. It's public information. So to the extent that they file a discovery list and it's listed out on the discovery what they found or what they turn over to the defense, we may never know, other than what, the police, it appears, or somebody else is leaking to the public for us to consume. So we don't know. Somebody said, don't forget, a lot of info is coming forward from Kim and what she left behind as well. I'll be honest, y'all. Kim is unfortunately no longer here to speak for herself. I am very, very, very skeptical about putting forth any information to suggest that he did anything to Kim, or that what she would say and what she would feel, because we don't know. We don't know. I don't want to speculate about it. I don't know how she felt about him. I don't know. All we have is what people are saying, and I don't feel comfortable doing that, because if I don't feel comfortable doing that, because we don't really know. There's no way for us to know. Um, do I think his sons will be indicted? I don't know. I would hope not. I would hope not. What proof though? Yeah, that's her is saying there's proof, no hearsay. Unless it's her recorded saying it, it's definitely hearsay. Unless there is some recording of her saying it, it's hearsay. It's somebody saying she said it, or somebody speaking on her behalf. So yeah. Do you know from your professional experience, will journalists be able to sit in and report? It depends. It depends on the judge. I think that this is obviously it's a case of public concern, but we don't know. We don't know if the judge will allow the media into the courtroom. I hope they do, but we don't know. He's in custody. His bond was denied. He's in custody. If it was in her manuscript, that would be considered hearsay. If it's her manuscript that she wrote, no, that wouldn't be hearsay. I mean, in a courtroom, it will be hearsay. But when we say hearsay, just to the general public, we just mean somebody else speaking on behalf of somebody else. But what is it true that she was even writing a book? I saw people come out and say there was never a book. She wasn't writing a book. That even that is hearsay. Yeah, somebody has a lawsuit. I agree. Diddy said 50 million for you, babe. Diddy, if you send me 50 mil right now, I promise you that these people on TikTok and YouTube will never see me again. I promise you that much. I promise you that much. I don't think the media was allowed in the courtroom for Trump. Yeah, Gail said I don't think they were allowed in the courtroom for Trump, but it just depends on the judge. Diddy said, listen, if Diddy sent me 50 million, y'all will never see me again. I promise you that. I literally promise. Somebody said, all right, Arian, don't be a co-conspirator. You're right. Let me not me snitching on myself on well, he's not telling me to be quiet because I'm involved. He just doesn't want me to comment on it. He paying for my silence to not comment on it. I don't know anything. Somebody said I thought federal courts don't allow cameras. Some do. I think it depends on the judge. Oh, hey Della. Yeah, it depends on the judge. Okay. All right, let's get back to it. All right, so the freak offs. Freak offs were elaborate and produced performances that Combs arranged, directed. Oh my god. Y'all, I'm a grown up, I promise, but Lord Jesus. Is this video? Is this video footage, or is this something that somebody said? Um Star said I'm gonna get banned. I'm gonna try my best, Lord. Freak offs were elaborate and produced performances that Combs arranged, directed, pleasured himself during, and often electronically recorded. I'm not gonna lie, this is probably the most disgusting sentence in the entire indictment. Like I'm gagging. Lord. Mm-mm-mm-mm. 540 girl said, and you're an attorney? Help me understand the context before I get offended. Help me understand. Are you trying to be funny or are you literally asking me if I'm an attorney? Um, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, y'all. The picture of it makes me want to gag. It does. Can't even lie. Can't even lie. Um, Freak offs occurred regularly, sometimes lasted multiple days, and often involved multiple commercial workers. Yeah, y'all just around here saying freak offs and y'all don't even know what it is. Y'all around here just saying freak offs and look at what a freak off is. Hey, Jamie. Oh my goodness, y'all. Multiple days is wild. Multiple days is wild behavior. Um right, so a commercial SW, I'm not sure if I'm not sure. Does this mean that they work in a place? I'm not 100% sure what that means. Y'all know my brother knocking on my window trying to get in my house. I wish I could turn my camera around right now so y'all can see him. Um, I'm on live. You gotta wait. Sorry. I'm not, cousin. Y'all say hi to my cousin Alana. I'm not. I just be want to know before I get offended, because you know when you read stuff over text messages and it might not be. So I'm just asking. I just want to know. Yeah. So I'm not sure. Yeah. Does commercial mean there's a? Yeah. Commercial is a strange word to use. Very strange. Very strange. I don't know. I'm not sure what that means. Um. All right. During freak offs, Combs distributed a variety of controlled substances to victims, in part to keep the victims obedient and compliant, sometimes unbeknownst to the victims. Combs kept videos he filmed of the victims engaging in essays with commercial SWs. After freak offs, Combs and the victims typically received IV fluids to recover from the physical exertion and drug use. Y'all, that's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot to take in. That is a lot to take in. Like commercial insurance or commercial property. I'm not sure if it just means that these are like agencies that supply essays, like formal agencies, because those exist, or I'm not really sure what it means. I would need some context. But yeah, the visual of the freak offs is, yeah, yeah. It's I'm not gonna lie, it's making me itch. I'm still getting stuff in my DMs, y'all. Lord, I just got a DM saying that from my sister, saying that Diddy reportedly had pink powder in his possession during the arrest. Y'all, huh? Remember the whole pink powder thing that was going on with Young Miami and the allegations and whatnot? And context for Tracy said go let my brother in. Y'all, should I go let my brother in? Ain't nobody telling him to pop up at my house. This is why you don't pop up. Um, yeah, pink powder. What the pink powder is, I don't know, but some kind of pink powder. I don't know. All right, y'all drop a B in the comments if I should go let my brother in. Somebody said it's called Tusi. Somebody said I heard it was on the rug in another live. Oh wow. All of these bees. Wait. Whose side y'all on? Wait a minute. Whoa. Whose side are y'all on? All right, y'all. God, I'm going to pause real quick and let him in. Jesus. Not y'all on my brother's side. Okay, I'm pausing. I'm pausing. I'll be right back. All right, I let him in. Gosh, I don't believe y'all. Okay. Somebody said it on Google. It says it is that booger sugar with dye. That's what somebody said. Mm. Okay. All right. I don't know. I'm green to it, honestly. I have no idea what it is. Y'all will know more than me. Oh, okay. Somebody said it was X. Hey, Taylor. So another. This is kind of a divert. This has nothing to do with this. Another frustration of mine. Y'all laughing because I said booger sugar. Wait, y'all take me seriously. Take me seriously. Um, my frustration is I can't control like my TikTok and my YouTube the way I want to when I do this like double stream thing. It's very frustrating. So I'm really interested in what do you call it? StreamYard, but they won't let me stream from TikTok. So I don't know. What? Child, not somebody on YouTube is trying to I think somebody on YouTube is trying to what do you call it? Troll me. I'm untrollable though, y'all. Jamie said his mugshot looks like he's ready to bring out other diddlers down, the other diddlers down with him. It said who was cooperating. I missed that, y'all. Yeah, Caitlin said YouTube is so much better for creators and viewers. True. At some point, I mean, I'm building a community on TikTok, and I don't want to just, so I'm really trying to be strategic and creative about what content I post on TikTok and what I post on YouTube. But I'm definitely moving towards going live only on YouTube. Jamie said, "Ain't no party like a Diddy party." Y'all play too much. Yeah, Star, I'm trying to, it's a lot, but I like both. I don't necessarily like one over the other. Obviously, one of them is more profitable than the other for creators like me who are long-winded and like to Carlissa said boo. um yeah, so I don't know, y'all. Yeah, and here's another thing. Let me add this too, because y'all see, I am a smiler, right? And I laugh at inappropriate things all the time. Sometimes I'm literally laughing. sometimes it's just I don't even realize I'm doing it. So y'all forgive me. This is absolutely serious. Like, this is not a joke. Some of this is so unbelievable that it's kind of comical, but this is serious. There are real people, at least one person that we know of, according to this indictment, that was a victim. Now, obviously, I'm a lawyer, and I'm a criminal defense lawyer at that. But I'm also a woman. I tell everybody this. When I wake up in the morning, the first thing I am is a black woman. Don't get it twisted. So outside of the courtroom, I'm a real person with real eyes, real ears, and I have thoughts and opinions, like everybody else. So don't think that just because I'm a criminal defense attorney that means that I can't think that he did it. That's not what that means at all. So I want to clarify that. Yeah. Carlissa said I go live on Facebook. Ooh, I didn't even think about Facebook. I didn't even think about that. I could definitely add Facebook to my rounds. Jamie said, and I pray for his kids, especially his daughters. Yes, like he has, and say what you want, right? He is an active, involved father to every single one of his kids, and we've never heard anybody say anything different. So, it's sad. Like, it's sad for anybody who loves and cares about him. It's sad. It's sad. Let me be clear. I told y'all when I wake up in the morning, I'm a black woman, right? And I love black men. I married a black man. I love black men. I have black brothers. My daddy is a black man. I have uncles that are black men. Like, I love black men. So it is frustrating to watch someone who is core to my experience as a black person, that it's sad to watch, right? But that's about as far as it goes. Yeah, that's about as far as it goes for me. It's sad to watch because we live in a time and in a country where black wealth we want to see generational wealth. We have conversations about reparations and poverty and the crimes that poverty causes to be committed, et cetera, blah, 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 all that stuff. So to watch somebody who literally reshaped culture, to watch what he did unfold is sad for everybody involved, because we have another chunk of culture that we kind of got to do away with, really. And that's sad. But it is what it is. But I have a lot of sympathy for anybody attached to him that has to deal with the consequences just because they're attached to him. His kids, the mothers of his kids, his mother, his family. It's sad. It's sad. Really sad. Somebody said, nah, free Diddy. We listen. Yeah. Okay. What benefit did it do to marry the last baby mama? I don't know. Marital privilege? I'm still confused. I'm still super confused. He's never been married before, as far as I know. I'm sure it was some benefit that he considered. But I don't really know. I know Justin's mama wasn't about to do it. We saw her post a couple times. Not my baby. Not my son. Jamie said, well, he's innocent until proven guilty, but the feds, and that's exactly it. As an attorney, I recognize he is innocent until proven guilty. I expect the criminal justice system to treat him that way. I expect him to be treated fairly, and I expect him to be treated like an innocent person, because until he is convicted and they meet their burden, that's exactly what he is. When I take off my lawyer hat and I'm just a woman and I see the video of Cassie and I recognize that over, the last 30 years, we have consistently heard about this type of behavior, I'm left to wonder how deep this really goes. And I don't have a problem saying that he did something. He did something. What exactly he did and how deep it goes and whether or not everybody who's come forward is credible, that's left to be determined. But he did something. Yeah. So that's that. Where we at on likes, y'all? Born Diva said he did all the things. Yeah, this kind of stuff doesn't happen. So Tracy said, like R. Kelly, there are a whole bunch of folks complicit. Absolutely. This kind of stuff does not happen without plenty of people who, you know, some that care about him, some that are just being paid by him, and some that want to benefit themselves being complicit. This kind of stuff does not happen. Destiny asked about his son. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if there's any credible allegation that his like adult, children were involved at all. Lord, the lubricant. The lubricant is 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant is like bonanzas. That's bonanzas. All right, let's read a little more. Somebody said what brand lubricant? I'm not playing with y'all. I'm not about to play with y'all. Somebody said they're still investigating accomplices. I'm sure they are. I'm sure they are. Somebody said in Young Miami said that wasn't her experience with him. And I take her at her word. I take her at her word. She's a big girl. She knows how to speak up if she was being mistreated, if she, and that is the calling card of abusers, right? Not every person that they are with, like I almost think it's intentional. I want to make sure that some people in the world will be able to say they had an amazing time with me and I was a perfect gentleman to them. That's a calling card. I'm sure there's other women that he's been with that might feel the same way. He was never abusive to me. That's just how it goes. Lord. All right, moving on. To Section B. Somebody said it was a lot of T in Section B. Members and associates of the Combs enterprise, including high-ranking supervisors, security staff, household staff, personal assistants, and other Combs business employees, facilitated the freak-offs by, among other things, booking hotel rooms for the freak-offs, stocking the hotel rooms in advance with the required freak-off supply. Wait, y'all, wait, what? Don't tell me they had a freak-off checklist. Wait. Y'all, what? Freak off supply list is insane. Oh my god. A freak off checklist is out of control. That's out of control. And again, there are victims. Absolutely. There are also plenty of willing like let's have a we have to separate the fact that there are plenty of these experiences are going to be consenting adults engaging in adult, behavior. And that is fine. That's completely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't care how freaky the freak off got. There are plenty of consenting adults, and that is going to include the use of narcotics. There are going to be plenty of people that consented to the use of narcotics. There's a lot of that is going to be, it is what it is. What we're concerned with is going to be the people that were doing this because they have been tricked into doing it or forced into doing it either physically or otherwise. That's what we're concerned about. But I'm sure we're going to learn about plenty of consenting adults that went to these freak offs and enjoyed themselves and went home and don't want nothing to do with this investigation. But yeah. Yes, Jamie. Yes, the IV part. We got there. All right, so they have freak off checklists. Um, Lord, I'm sorry, where was I? Freak off supplies, including controlled substances, the the prosecutor that wrote this indictment is petty. Okay, let's be clear. Petty, very petty. Controlled substances, baby oil, lubricant, extra linens, and lighting, cleaning the hotel rooms after the freak offs to try to mitigate the room damage. Ooh. Arranging for travel for victims, commercial sex workers, SWs, and Combs to and from freak offs, resupplying Combs with requested supplies, delivering large sums of cash to Combs to pay the commercial SWs, and scheduling the delivery of IV fluids. Y'all, being prepared to hydrate people after a freak off because it was just that dehydrating is this is like a level of wealth and privilege that none of us will ever know. Will ever know. That we'll never know. In about March 2024, during searches of Combs' residences in Miami and in Los Angeles, law enforcement seized various freak-off supplies. This prosecutor knew what they was doing, y'all. The prosecutor knew what they was doing. They knew. Seized various freak-off supplies, including illegal substances and more than 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant. Hello, girl. This is crazy. Yeah, they knew. This prosecutor knew exactly what they were doing. Combs subjected the victims to physical, emotional, and verbal abuse to cause the victims to engage in freak-offs. Combs maintained control over his victims through, among other things, physical violence, promises of career opportunity. Y'all remember that me and my sister were talking about this, where he used to say he was going to put people on the shelf? I'm going to put such and such on the shelf. Granting and threatening to withhold financial support and other coercive means, including tracking their whereabouts, dictating the victim's appearance, monitoring their medical records, controlling their housing, and supplying them with controlled substances. During and separate from freak-offs, Combs, among other things, hit, kicked, threw objects at, and kicked victims, at times by their hair. These assaults often resulted in injuries that took days or weeks to heal. Combs also threatened victims' careers and livelihoods, including if they resisted participating in freak-offs. Victims believed that they could not refuse Combs' demands without risking their financial or job security and without repercussions in the form of physical or emotional abuse. Combs also used the sensitive, embarrassing, and incriminating recordings that he made during freak-offs as collateral to ensure the continued obedience and silence from the victims. Now, I can promise you this. If this ends up in a trial, this paragraph is going to be highly, highly, highly litigated by his attorneys. Right? The idea that he was not physically forcing them, but that he was forcing them through telling them, I'm not going to pay you, I'm not going to give you money, or I'm going to fire you. That is something that there is, we have half of the country that might feel like, or a part of the country that might feel like, that, yes, that is absolutely abuse. It is manipulation, it's coercion, etc., etc. But there are plenty of people in the world and in the country that will say, you could have just said no. Like, we can expect that jury selection for this type of case is going to be long and drawn out. And that when the time comes, if they do go to trial, there's going to be a lot of arguments around the concept of manipulation and coercion, and whether or not it was coercion or these people were just money hungry and they were willing to do it. They were consenting and willing to do it because they wanted money and they wanted power and they wanted to be adjacent to somebody that was powerful. I could promise you one part of their defense is going to be just that. Lord, not Justin Bieber. Y'all play too much. Jamie I'm not gonna blow up your spot, Jamie, but I don't even know if this trial could relate to what you went through. Imagine the victims of him and Epstein. Let me say this. Let me ask this. I remember that there was, I think, one person that says that she was underage, but my understanding is that most of, if not all, of the victims or the alleged victims in this case are adults. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. But my understanding is that there is no allegation of underage, that sort of thing, that it's adults. Bentley is minding his business. Bentley said, I am married happily, leave me alone. I ain't got nothing to do with it. If this goes to trial, it's over for him, whether he's guilty or not. Horrible. That part is done. That lady lawyer said if this goes to trial, it's over for him, whether he's found guilty or not. Horrible PR. Yes. We already saw the fall of his career. If he will be lucky to be found not guilty and be able to take whatever wealth he still has and move forward. But that's it. As far as him being a mogul, that part of his life is done. And I think he has come to terms with that. Tracy said there's one 17-year-old. I think that's who I'm thinking about that said she was 17 at the time. Yeah. Neek says they posted the judge said he may not be a threat if he only communicates with adults. I didn't see that, but Jamie said, where's Bentley with that damn umbrella? Bentley is gonna say I had that umbrella in front of my face the whole time and I don't know nothing. I don't know nothing. Yeah, so I've been seeing a lot of posts about Kevin Lyle stepping down and a couple other high ranking people stepping down and wondering if they were involved. Lo said I read Don. Yes, I didn't read it, but I saw that she filed suit. And if anybody, yeah, y'all think about this. Dawn from Making the Band, she was from Danity Kane. She also was in, oh my God, what was the name of the group? Dirty Money. Dirty Money. She was also in Dirty Money with Diddy for a little bit, and I'm sure she knows some stuff aside from what she's alleging that he did to her. Somebody said there's 300 witnesses. I don't know. Tracy said it may be argued that 17 is the age of consent in New York, but she was flown from Michigan. 18 is the national age of consent. Mm. That's going to be an interesting legal argument. I know in Florida we have something called like the Romeo Juliet concept, which means like a certain gap. As long as the person is old enough to consent, generally speaking, that there's a certain gap where it, technically would not be considered a crime. Yeah, so I'm gonna go back and probably read that too at this point, Lo. The Don Richards lawsuit. But yeah. Right. What do you think about your dad after a lawsuit like that? I mean, people make excuses for and forgive family members all the time that do, disgusting things. Obviously um there's a different, like, it's just different. It's their dad. There are some people strong enough to say I don't care, I'm done, I don't want anything to do with you. Some people are not, and it's hard to, even when your family member does something wrong, it's hard to give up. So yeah. All right, let's get to it. um Members and associates of the Combs enterprise, including Combs security personnel, at times carry firearms. Yeah, that's obvious. On one or more occasions, Combs himself carried or brandished firearms to intimidate or threaten others, including victims. of and witnesses to the abuse. In or about March 2024, during a search of Combs' residences in Miami and LA, law enforcement officers seized firearms and ammunition, including 3 AR-15s with defaced serial numbers, as well as a drum magazine. So not a crime. It's Florida. So what? So I think that's just relevant to say that he owns guns. But I always get pissed off when I am involved in a legal case, especially like a criminal case, and there's this discussion about black men having guns. So I thought we didn't want people taking away our guns. So what? Um, yeah. Members and associates of the Combs enterprise enabled Combs control over victims by following his directions regarding financial payments to victims, advancing or suppressing the victims' career opportunities, acquiring the controlled substances Combs used to keep victims compliant. Members and associates of the Combs enterprise at times witnessed Combs' violence towards the victims or the victims' injuries caused by Combs without intervening. Instead, members and associates of the Combs enterprise helped conceal the violence and abuse by, among other things, assisting Combs in monitoring and preventing victims from leaving locations. That is absolutely kidnapping. Such as hotels or Combs residences. These occasions included instances which a victim was required to remain in hiding, sometimes for several days at a time, to recover from injuries Combs inflicted. This sounds like Cassie. Without being publicly observed, obviously, because she's a public figure herself. Members and associates of the Combs enterprise also assisted Combs in locating and contacting victims who attempted to flee his abuse. Not going to hunt people down. Going to hunt people down. Where are we at on likes, y'all? Let's see what I missed. 27? I'm starting to feel like y'all don't like me no more. 27, y'all? I thought y'all was going to say like 50. Somebody said yes. Look at serial unalivers such as BTK. His family knew nothing. Yep. Not necessarily true that people that his, and I'm sure he would probably be trying to keep it away from his kids. So come on, Tracy. Tracy said, let's blow these likes up, please. Also share. Please share. Share the live. Let me see what I missed in the comments. Coco and Creative Kids brand. Can you define members and associates? Were they friends or employees? Possibly. Probably both. A lot of these people are going to be employees, but some of them just might be associates. I think in order to have like a successful enterprise like this, it's probably going to be mostly employees. But you got to remember, people like Diddy would be able to hire people that he knows, hire associates and pay them. So my guess is it's mostly employees, but there might be some just friends that were able to benefit from the power and the money and the behaviors as well. Thank you. Also, yeah, NDAs that's going to be important. That's going to be important. But you cannot contract to you can't contract to cover up a crime, right? So like how can I explain this? Like you cannot have any legal contract. So I'm sure that some of these NDAs are going to be argued that they are not valid. But yeah. Jess said his attorney admitted that Diddy contacted subpoenaed witnesses. That's coercion. Not necessarily. So just because a witness is subpoenaed doesn't mean you have to stay away from them. In fact, you probably want to know who the witnesses are. His attorneys are definitely going to be subpoenaing them. Coercion is very specific. If he's contacting them just to get information, which of course he would want to get information about whether or not they're participating, there may not be any coercion. Now there could be coercion, but contacting them alone is not enough unless there's a stay away order. Aren't you bound to report even as an NDA? So an NDA, it's the existence of an NDA, I don't believe. Well, I guess it depends on what's in the NDA. So if the contract is that the NDA itself is confidential, then the fact that there's an NDA might be might be confidential, but it just depends. I wonder if they tapped phones. I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't know if I don't know if they had enough time. I don't know. We don't know how long this investigation was. We really don't know. We're assuming that all of this was sparked by Cassie and her lawsuit, but that might not be true. They could have been looking at him for years. The feds are not unknown to do stuff like that. So we don't really know. Since March. So maybe, but we don't really know that for sure. We know they got the warrant in March, but we know they've investigated since before March because they needed probable cause to get the warrant. So they had to present information to a judge to get the warrant. So the investigation is definitely older than March, but we don't know how long and how far it goes back. But the assumption that people have is that it's related directly to Cassie, and it might not be. It might not be. And let's talk about it, Neek. How? After watching Bill Cosby, after watching R. Kelly, how but sometimes people with these kind of perversions can't help it. Why do you still have videos in your house, sir? How? 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 How is that a thing? How is that a thing? If I were somebody in Diddy's position and I'm in the media watching R. Kelly, watching Bill Cosby, watching Epstein, watching what's the other one? Harvey Weinstein. Yeah, watching them, they'd have been investigating me for past crimes. They would have been investigating me for everything I did before. They wouldn't have been able to. There's no way. There's no way. This is literally the exact same thing that happened to R. Kelly. They found all those tapes that he was using to manipulate and, keep these girls. Yeah, nah. That's insane. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. The Michigan inmate that just won 100 mil, that I'm sure that's gonna get thrown out. That just won 100 mil may have helped this too. I didn't really look into that case, but I knew immediately that Diddy hadn't responded. He didn't win on the merits. He just got a default judgment. And if he just got a default judgment, it's gonna be very easy to get that overturned. Super easy. No, not yet. Just said, did you read all the details of the arraignment, the text from the attorneys and the judge? No, not yet. But let's finish this up. Um, okay. When Combs' authority or reputation was threatened by the possibility of negative publicity or law enforcement action against him, including in or about late 2023, following public allegations of Combs' crimes, Combs and members and associates of the enterprise pressure witnesses and victims, including through attempted bribery, to stay silent and not report what they experienced or knew to law enforcement. On phone calls, Combs and other members and associates of the enterprise, among other things, provided these victims and witnesses with a false narrative of events in an effort to conceal Combs' crimes. Combs caused these calls to be recorded on these two occasions. Y'all. They gave them stories to tell. They gave them stories to tell. Tracy said although he was offered 2.3 million to settle, meaning the guy who filed the lawsuit. So I haven't heard that. But they could still settle it, but the judgment itself is going to be easy to get rid of. The racketeering conspiracy from at least in or about 2008 through on or about the date of the filing of this indictment in the Southern District of New York and elsewhere, Sean Combs, aka all those names, the defendant and others known and unknown, being persons employed by and associated with the Combs enterprise described in paragraph 6 through 12 of this indictment, and enterprise engaged in and the activities of which affected interstate and foreign commerce, again making sure they have that federal jurisdiction, knowingly combined, conspired, confederated, and agreed together, that's the conspiracy, with each other to violate the racketeering laws of the United States, to wit, the title, the section, the U.S. Code. That is to conduct and participate directly and indirectly in the conduct of the affairs of the Combs enterprise through a pattern of racketeering activity, as that term is defined in Title 18, United States Code, Section 1961, 1 and 1961, 5, consisting of multiple acts involving kidnapping, chargeable under the following provisions of state law. So they're listing all the state crimes. California Penal Code, Section 207. California Penal Code, Sections 21A and 664. California Penal Code, Section 31, aiding and abetting. And California Penal Code, Section 182, conspiracy. This is helping us understand who we might be talking about. I don't know if him and Cassie ever lived in California, but when we start saying specifically there was a kidnapping that occurred in this state, at some point we'll be able to figure out who this person is. Multiple acts involving arson, chargeable under the following provisions of state law. Again, in California, y'all, is Kid Cudi from Cali? Multiple acts involving bribery, all in California. Multiple acts indictable under Title 18, U.S. Code, Section 1512, relating to tampering with a witness. Multiple acts indictable under Title 18, U.S. Code 1589, related to forced labor. Multiple acts indicted under Title 18, U.S. Code, Sections 1591, related to ST. Multiple acts under Title 18, Sections U.S. Code, Sections 24, United States Code, Sections 2421, 2422, and 2, related to the transportation and inducement to travel for purposes of P and other illegal SA, and multiple offenses involving the possession with intent to distribute or distribution of illegal substances and controlled substances, including booger sugar, some other stuff, and some other stuff, and some other stuff, and a whole bunch of other stuff, in violation of Title 21, U.S. Code Sections 84. We don't need to read all that. Tracy said Kid Cudi bought a house in Calabasas in 2021, so maybe that is about Kid Cudi. It was a part of the conspiracy that Sean Combs, the defendant, agreed that a conspirator would commit at least 2 acts of racketeering activity in the conduct of the affairs of the Combs enterprise. Notice of special sentencing factor from at least in or about 2009 up to and including in or about 2018, in the Southern District of New York and elsewhere, as a part of his agreement to conduct and participate in the conduct of the affairs of the Combs enterprise through a pattern of racketeering activity. Sean Combs, the defendant, agreed to end and affecting interstate foreign commerce, knowingly recruit, entice, harbor, transport, provide, obtain, advertise, maintain, patronize, and solicit by any means a person knowing and in reckless disregard of the fact that means of force, threats, of force, fraud, coercion, as described in Title 18, U.S. Code Section 1591, and any combination of such means would be used to cause the person to engage in a commercial SA in violation of that code. That means essentially that this is an attempt to enhance whatever, his charges may be. Count 2. ST by force, fraud, or coercion. Victim 1. The grand jury further charges from at least 2009. Victim 1, I think victim 1 is Cassie. Y'all, I think victim 1 is Cassie. Lola Abini said, I believe that's the timeline of he and Cassie's relationship. I agree with you. I believe victim 1 is Cassie. I can't be 100% sure, but I think it is. Just reading that one sentence took me that I think it is. Okay, from at least 2009 through 2018 in the Southern District of New York and elsewhere, Sean Combs, the defendant in and affecting interstate and foreign commerce, knowingly recruited, enticed, harbored, transported, provided, obtained, advertised, maintained, patronized, and solicited by any means a person knowing and in reckless disregard of the fact that means of force, threats of force, fraud, and coercion as described in the code, and any combination of such means will be used to cause the person to engage in a commercial SA and attempted, aided, and abetted, and willfully caused the same, to wit, Combs, recruited, enticed, harbored, transported, and maintained a person, victim 1, and attempted, aided, and abetted, and willfully caused victim 1 to engage in commercial SA. This is talking about him forcing, I believe, Cassie to engage in SA with other people, which was another allegation that we saw. Knowing and in reckless disregard for the fact that victim 1 was engaging in commercial SA as a result of force and coercion. So they are distinctly saying this is not two consenting adults that are interested in just exploring with other consenting adults. This is him forcing her by means of coercion or physical force or whatever kind of force to engage in acts with other people. Yeah. Thank you, Tracy. Tracy said, let's get those likes up while we're listening. Come on, y'all. How close are we to this goal? Where we at? That's my distress. I'm in distress. Let's see. What's this? Oh, I can't remember his name right now. What's the lawyer on he's on YouTube, black lawyer from Atlanta. I can't remember his name, y'all. But he don't be playing with his when he's on live, he don't be playing. He'll sit there and be quiet until they get his likes up. Tracy said, don't be distressed. We got you. I appreciate y'all. I really do. All right. Jess said, oh, so victim 1 is Cassie. His lawyer said it. So I didn't see all the statements that his lawyer made other than like the brief interview that he did. So I wasn't sure. But it's clear. I think this paragraph makes it clear. Super clear. The lead attorney. Yes, the lead attorney don't be playing. The lead attorney be like, I ain't saying nothing until y'all get me to my goal. But I respect that for him. But I talk too much for that. I can't keep my mouth closed. So that wouldn't work for me. Tracy said, what's the goal? The goal is 100K. And I believe in y'all. I believe we could do it. Where are we at now? And I got a little lag. This is another reason why I'm really interested in StreamYard, making it so that I can stream to TikTok. Because I think StreamYard is a better No shade to Streamlabs. I appreciate y'all, but I think StreamYard just has a more intuitive interface, if you will. 40.5. All right. I believe in y'all. Just, I'm a read, but we got this. Michelle said, let me get these dishes done and I'll hit the screen. I appreciate you, Michelle. I appreciate you. Okay. Count 3, transportation to engage in, we gonna call it the big P. In the big P. Oh my God. From at least on or about 2009, which we now, this is the start of the relationship with Cassie. Tracy said, I'll be on here until we get to 50K. Then I have to go and come back. All right, Tracy, girl. I hate you gotta go, but we'll see you when you get back. From at least in or about 2009 up to and including in or about 2024 in the Southern District of New York and elsewhere, Sean Combs, the defendant, knowingly transported an individual in interstate and foreign commerce with the intent that the individual engage in the big P and attempted, aided and abetted and willfully caused the same, to wit, Combs transported, aided and abetted and willfully caused the transportation of female victims and commercial SWs in interstate and foreign commerce on multiple occasions with the intent that they engage in the big P. Tracy, dum 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 dum. I agree. I agree. I agree. And we talk about these the IV and fluids, and here I am dehydrated. Yeah, I agree. Y'all, this is every day we just getting up, going to work, taking the kids to school, living life, and Diddy is at the freak off. 45K. All right, y'all. We almost halfway there. Very crazy to wrap your head around. Literally. Every day. Think about it. Michelle washing her dishes and Diddy at the freak off. Lord. All right. Forfeiture allegations. We need to take the Benson on the forfeiture allegations as a result of committing the offense alleged in count 1 of this indictment. Sean Combs, the defendant, shall forfeit to the United States. And this is the part that I'm not gonna lie, it pisses me off because I'm not following. We tapping likes and he tapping. Y'all play too much. Y'all play too much. The defendant shall forfeit to the United States pursuant to Title 18, U.S. Code Section 1963, any and all interest the defendant acquired or maintained in violation of Title 18 U.S. Code, and that maintained is where we're going to have an argument. U.S. Code Section 1962, any and all interest in, securities of, claims against, and property or contractual rights of any kind affording a source of influence over the enterprise named and described herein, which the defendant established, operated, controlled, conducted, and participated in the conduct of in violation of Title 18, and any and all property constituting and derived from proceeds obtained directly or indirectly said offense, including but not limited to a sum of money in the United States currency representing the amounts of proceeds traceable to the commission of said offense. I'm going to finish reading this before I tell y'all my thoughts. As a result of committing the offense alleged in count 2. Okay, so same thing. So they listed the three counts and they read out the same thing. They want to forfeit any assets that were gained and it appears possibly used to commit these crimes, right? As a result, substitute assets, blah, blah, blah. We don't, it is what it is. I'll read it anyway. If any of the above described forfeitable property as a result of any act or omission of the defendant cannot be located, upon the existence of due diligence, has been transferred or sold to or deposited with a third person, has been placed beyond the jurisdiction of the court, has been substantially diminished in value, or meaning they tore it up, has been commingled with other property which cannot be subdivided without difficulty. It's the intent of the United States, all that, to seek forfeiture of any other property of the defendant up to the value of the above forfeitable property. All right. Okay. Oh, 50K. We're at 50K. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all so much. I appreciate it. We halfway there. Cookie said, now this is gonna be a real trial. My personal state of Georgia, specifically Fonnie, take notes. If it makes it there, we don't know. There might be a plea. We don't know. Diddy is 54 years old. He's gonna have to take some serious consideration related to whether or not he wants to take the risk, because there is no doubt about it. If he is convicted, he's going to spend the rest of his life in jail, period. So he's going to have to seriously consider that. Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna start with the forfeiture, right? I said this in my video. This is not the kind of case or the kind of situation where they are alleging that Diddy, we know that his wealth, that his fame, that his fortune, that his assets did not come from this crime, right? So we're not talking about someone who is allegedly selling, illegal narcotics or whatever and got some kind of wealth or assets. That's not what we're talking about. It's not that kind of RICO. What they're saying is that he was able to use his power, his assets, his money, et cetera, to conceal these crimes. And in light of the fact that, separate and aside from this, this is his generational wealth. And when I say his generational wealth, I mean wealth that he will pass to his kids, who, as far as we know, are innocent in this. I got a problem with the forfeit. Now, granted, we find out you bought a house in, Atlanta that you use for freak, like the purpose of the house was for the freak offs. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about that. I am talking about an effort by the government to seize the wealth and thus take the wealth from his future generations, from his children and his children's children. I have a problem with that. I do. I have a huge problem with that. A huge problem with that. Missy said, let's call Loon and Shine. Listen, Loon is living his peaceful Muslim life, and Shine is living his wonderful political life. They good. I don't want Shine or Loon involved in this at all. Leave them alone. Leave them alone. Cookie said there's a woman claiming his son committed SA acts against her. I vaguely remember hearing something about it. I didn't read anything. I don't really know anything. I do vaguely remember hearing something about it. Yeah. And that I understand, but I don't think that, as far as I have heard, that's not related to this. That's just a separate incident. Okay, but if the wealth is tied to the crime, right? So if he has taken money, if he has used money that he lawfully acquired and bought a rental property, literally, I'm just making it up, but bought a rental property in Atlanta, and this is the exclusive place that he hosts the freak offs, I understand why they're going to seize it. Because the purpose of it is for the commission of a crime. I get that. But that's not it. They went out of their way to make this super broad. And I have an issue with that. So we were talking about, Siona said, just got in here, take wealth away from his kids. So just the idea of forfeiture, we don't know what it means yet. They weren't super specific. They're just saying related to any of these three crimes, any property that we could forfeit, that we could seize, we will attempt to. And I just, Yeah. I want to be fair as it relates to what's fair. He committed crimes. He should be convicted, et cetera, et cetera. All that is fine. But I don't think that his kids should lose their inheritance for the benefit of the government. I don't think his kids should lose their inheritance based on, when I say their inheritance, I mean their rightful inheritance, meaning things that he worked for to acquire and would pass on to them. I don't support that at all. Okay. He's been doing this since the 90s, so it's hard to exclude his wealth from the crimes. So I get it. I get how they could be interconnected, but there is no allegation that he is um profiting financially from the crimes. Only that, like, if we hear, he was charging people $500 a ticket to get into these freak offs, that's different. But as far as we know, he's using the wealth that he legally obtained. He's throwing these parties using money that he legally obtained. So the presence of people being at these freak offs does not mean that the property involved, the assets involved, were ill gotten. Ayana said, is that what it says, that his kids have to lose their inheritance? No. So it just says that they would seize any property that is seizable, that was used to maintain the enterprise or gotten as a result of the enterprise. So I'm just speaking, generally, that I don't know what that looks like. I don't know what that could mean. I don't know what they attempt to try to seize. I have no idea. But we've been hearing about him putting properties in his kids' names and selling this off and et cetera, et cetera. So we don't know what that's going to look like. Cars, homes. Yeah, people are giving examples. Allegedly, they were investing into companies to cover the trafficking. Y'all, it's very overwhelming. It's very overwhelming. Super overwhelming. I will say this. He has had ample notice that this was coming, and I would expect that his attorneys have done a lot of work in the background to prepare for this kind of thing. Because anybody who is handling a federal case would expect that there's going to be an attempt to seize or forfeit property. Renee said, how long does a federal case usually take to get to trial? There's no telling. It depends on the case. It could be a couple months. It could be a couple years. There's one of this magnitude. I'm sure we're not gonna see it go to trial this year. Maybe not even next year. But he's also wealthy and probably has a team of attorneys and paralegals, and they will be able to get this discovery and start tackling it immediately. So he's not going to have the same timeline that a normal person would have, or even a person that hired me would have, because I'm a solo attorney, right? He's going to have a team of attorneys that are able to get this information and really decipher through it. Jamie said it'll be over before the YSL trial. That is funny. That is funny. I cannot. Y'all play too much. Mm, 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 mm. All right, so let me go back to just me. Um, yeah, so that's the indictment. Three different charges. We're right at the beginning. We know his bond was denied. Actually, I'll show y'all. Let's see. Let me see if it works. All right, it won't let me be great and show y'all the bond motion. It won't let me be great. It won't let me be great, but I'll say this. There is a, how many pages is it? 10-page motion to the judge asking for a release for bond. That was filed today and it was denied today. Literally, all in a day. He offered, let me see. I really want to be able to show y'all this. Hold on. Let's see. I'm committed to showing y'all this document. And it won't let me be great. Hold on, y'all. I'm committed. I believe in myself. I can do it. I believe it. If I believe it, it can happen. All right, maybe it's not going to happen. I tried. I tried. I tried real hard. In the meantime, where we at with the likes? Jazz said I heard his lawyers say they are appealing, so they probably filed a writ, the no bail, and will be back in court tomorrow. Mm. Wait, Shay, what was on the shade room? I missed it. 57.6K. Come on, y'all. Y'all, let's go to work. You said you saw something on the shade room. The motion. I have the motion. I just can't get it to show on my screen. Cause I be swearing I be swearing I did something. And turns out I ain't do nothing. Terrible. Let's see. I'm gonna do it. I'm committed to it. Boom. We got action. We got action. All right, y'all. We got it. See, a little patience. If y'all just hang in there with me, at some point, these social media sites are gonna appreciate me and they're gonna start paying me, and then I'll be able to pay somebody to do this. But until then, it's me. We stuck with me. I'm sorry. But we got it. All right. So let me make sure y'all can see it properly. All right. So we got it. I'm glad y'all stayed. I'm glad y'all stayed. I'm glad you stuck with me too. I surely am. All right. So this is the motion, which is kind of drafted like a letter. Um, it's not the way that, I mean, I don't know. It just looks a little weird. The format is a little weird, but hey, it's New York. Maybe they just do it differently up there. But this is a proposal essentially for bond. So there's a cover letter that's just saying, "Hey, judge, these are some conditions, um, and we want you to know that these are all the things that Diddy has done over the past 6 months, and this is why he's not a flight risk, and this is why you should release him on bond." Um, the first thing they said, and they being a little dramatic. The first thing the court should know is that when it became apparent to his counsel that Mr. Combs would at some point be formally charged. Let me zoom in a little bit. Um, he did something extraordinary. He left his home in Miami and traveled to New York, the very location of the prosecutors and agents investigating him. Through counsel, Mr. Combs promptly told the government that he had voluntarily come to New York, offered to tell them specifically where he was, and offered to turn himself in at the appropriate time. Even though Mr. Combs came to New York, authorized his lawyers to tell the government of his location, etc., etc., the government effected an arrest last evening. Again, petty. They could have let him surrender. They didn't want him to, though. 62K, all right. Appreciate it. Jamie said, freak offs to New York, probably. Lord. That was strategic. His lawyers definitely said, listen, this is the best way to do it. At some point, you're going to have to go in front of the judge. You're going to have to ask for bail. And we want to make sure that just because you are rich, they can't say that you are running or that you're a flight risk. So this was strategic. It was a good move. But for him to be like, he did something extraordinary. No, he did something his lawyer said was a good idea. Let's keep it a buck. Come on now. Jamie said the feds wanted to see what he had in his hotel room, and he had apparently pink booger sugar in there. Right. Right, Carlissa. He came to New York to the house where he had the pink powder. Tuh. Thank you, Monica. What do I know about his attorney? I don't know much about his attorney. Other than what I've seen related to this case. I haven't looked him up or anything. At some point I will. But I haven't looked him up or anything. Jamie said, Jamie, I forgot you are a New York source. Y'all, we know when we want to go know what's going on in New York, um, we gonna call on Jamie. I forgot she was there. The new, so is that really a thing? I didn't think it was a thing. I thought it was like a famous person, rich person thing. Did not know that pink booger sugar was like a real thing. Interesting. But yeah, so that's it. The first thing he did was come to New York. This was not the first action of Mr. Combs. That this was not the first action Mr. Combs took to show his trustworthiness and lack of flight risk. Indeed, it was a part of a pattern ever since before. You don't need to be using words pattern when your client is charged with something like this. The last word you ever need to use to describe your client is pattern. A pattern of anything. Since before March 25th of 2024, searches on Mr. Combs' residences. Mr. Combs and his counsel, Taylor, take me seriously. Why y'all don't take me seriously? I'm so serious. Um, Mr. Combs and his counsel have been fully aware that the U.S. Attorney in the Southern District of New York have been conducting an investigation, blah, blah, blah. Knowing for these many months that he will be indicted, he's done everything and will set out below to work with prosecutors in the ways that are unusual, if not unprecedented. I'm on y'all side. That's what his attorney is saying. I'm on y'all side. In light of these circumstances, he can rebut the presumption of detention here due to his extraordinary actions in this investigation. And so apparently in New York, and I don't know this because I practice there, I'm not licensed in New York, but apparently there are some cases where there's some charges that carry a presumption of detention, meaning you're going to be in custody unless you can respond, unless you can convince us that you should not be. That's very different than the way it is in Florida, which literally you are entitled to be released. That's what the Constitution says, but that's not what they be doing. But you're entitled to be released unless you're charged with a crime that is a life felony, basically, that's punishable by life or death. Then you're not entitled to it. And even when you are charged with those crimes, there's still an opportunity to fight for freedom during, pre-trial by having an author hearing. I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, but yeah. Mm-hmm. They talking about his sister. I don't know. I don't know about his sister. I'd be curious to see how you would defend this. Ayana, I'd be curious to see how I would defend this. I don't know. I can tell you now, I talked about this a little bit earlier. I don't know if you heard it. There's gonna definitely be an effort by his attorneys to combat this whole concept of coercion and forced, right? Were these people forced and coerced, or were they willing participants, right? Like, we looking at the IV and we laughing about it, but was this something that he did because these are all willing participants and he wanted to make sure everybody was okay after they engaged in consensual adult SAs, right? Those are definitely going to be some of the arguments that they make. Jamie said defense attorney wasted time victim shaming and blaming security. Somebody else sent me something about him talking about Cassie, and to defend somebody using those kind of concepts, right? Like, you're saying this person is not a victim, they're a willing participant. It takes a lot of tact. It takes a lot of tact because you don't want to come off as just victim blaming. That's not how you want it. Like, you can really sour the jury doing that, and that's the worst thing you could possibly do. So you got to be careful. Renee said, I just have to tell my client he going to jail, but I'll make sure he get a fair trial. Jamie, Renee, that's a conversation that sometimes as attorneys we got to have. Like, look, I'm gonna protect your rights, but it's bad. Sorry, there's no way out. And sometimes you're in a position where the state has not offered you anything anyway that would mean that you could take. I've been to trial like that before. We don't have an offer that makes sense for you to take, so you might as well take your chances at trial. But it's pretty bad. It's not looking good, and you're probably going to jail or prison. So, yep. Here's the proposition. $50 million bond. This is where he offered his home. Co-signed by Sean Combs, his mother, his sister, the mother of his oldest daughter, and his adult 3 sons. Secured by the equity in Mr. Combs' residence located at 2 West Star Island in Miami, Florida. The appraised value of the home is about $48 million. The home is unencumbered. In anticipation of this bail hearing on August 20th, 2024, Mr. Combs paid off the remaining mortgage of about $18 million so that the home could be used to secure a bond and be free of mortgage. Y'all, Eva is outside, y'all. I would ask y'all to tell me if y'all want me to open the door for Eva, but I already know what y'all gonna say. Even though she popped up to my house and didn't ask me to come, y'all think I should still open the door for her. So I'm gonna go ahead and open the door for Eva. Michelle said, damn, he should have kept that 18 million. He probably should have. All right, y'all. I'm going to open the door for Eva. Y'all do me a favor and let's get them likes together while I go open the door for Eva. Please, let's do that. This is what I mean. It's your door. Let me go. I know y'all not going to let me live if I leave her outside. So I'm going to go open the door. All right, y'all. I'm back.
Thank y'all so much for telling her to open the door for me. Y'all know that if she would have never opened the door for me,
Not you trying to get me together on live. Y'all, did I just get checked by a 9-year-old?
Yes.
Is that what happened?
Yeah.
All right, I'm kicking her out now. You staying?
She said that we just couldn't know if was in the area. I'm not staying forever.
Okay, give me a kiss.
I wanted to stay forever, but I would stay forever.
Bye, girl. Lock the door. All right, bye. All right, y'all. She in and she out. They gone just that fast. Now she gathered me like a lace on a dress. Y'all, this is my life. This is my life. This is my own fault. As her mama would say, this is what you get for teaching her about boundaries and speaking her mind. Yeah, so there's that. All right, where were we? Okay, yeah, so he offered, which I'm sure this property is probably in the names of these people already. I know at least some property he apparently had given to some of his kids. Mr. Combs' travel will be restricted to the Southern District of Florida and New York to attend court, meet with his counsel, and attend medical appointments, which we will address the court in a separate sealed submission. Y'all, sounds like there's some medical issues that we don't know about. And as well as the Eastern District of New York and the District of New Jersey, only to the extent that his travel to and from New York involves airports in those districts. Mr. Combs' passport was surrendered to his counsel on April 1st, 2024. Wasn't he on a jet somewhere? Wasn't he on like a private jet at some point somewhere out of the country? Am I tripping? Jamie said restricted to NBC. Jamie. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that is interesting. Okay, so the lawyer already has his passport, and he advised the prosecutors of this fact in an email dated the same day. Counsel will provide the passport to pretrial services. The passports of the following family members. This is sad. This is sad. Who have already surrendered their passports to counsel after the raids on Mr. Combs' homes. Janice Combs, Chance Combs, Jesse Combs, Delilah Combs, and Love Combs, y'all. That's sad. That is sad. Michelle said, are his potential charges going to be life in prison? So I believe my mind right now, there's a term for the person that's the head of the conspiracy. I can't think of it right now. Wow, I'm drawing a blank. But ultimately, yes, for these charges, there is definitely going to be a potential of life attached to it. Yeah. Claudia said, "Why are the kids surrendered?" So they're offering. They already surrendered them to the attorney. They gave them to the attorney, but it's unclear if there is some kind of it's unclear if there was some kind of suggestion that he, like, maybe at least the older kids. No, I take that back. None of these are all the underage kids. These are all the people that live in his home. None of the adult kids are listed, now that I think about it. So these are all the underage kids. I guess the concept is if he were to flee, he would probably take his underage kids because he is their custodian, their custodial parent. So yeah. I think he is offering them so that there's no argument that he would flee with them. That's my thought. Because they're normal citizens with the right to travel freely as they want. So my thought is that's why he's offering it. All right. And then since April 2024, Mr. Combs has been making efforts to sell his airplane. Now, is he trying to sell his airplane because he wants to liquidate his assets or because he doesn't want to be seen as a flight risk? What y'all think? Drop a plane in the comments if you think he wants to sell this plane to liquidate his assets. 75K. I know that's right. Appreciate it, y'all. I think that might be our highest. I think that might be our highest so far. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. It makes sense that he would want to liquidate his assets. People like him likely can't say everybody, but he's going to have a lot of investments, a lot of, assets that appreciate or depreciate or whatever in value. I don't expect him to have a bunch of cash. So, yeah. Let's go, Angel. Angel said we run it up to 100K. That's the goal. Yep. Absolutely. Dominique said, I think he's doing all this to get his affairs in order because he knows. I agree. I definitely agree. Yeah. He's entered into a letter of intent with a party to sell it. Mr. Combs understands he's not to travel to Los Angeles, where the plane had been located this week, and further that the plane is not to be bought to any district in which he's located until it is sold. Home detention with GPS monitoring, which is house arrest, and all other standard conditions of pretrial services or pretrial supervision. That's what they're offering. Turn it down. Neek says, I'm shocked he didn't leave the Bali with Russell. See, Russell is in a different position because he doesn't have any minor children. His kids, were grown. He could go. Diddy is different. And, he might be trash, but I think that he cares and is concerned about the well-being of his kids and how this disrupts their lives. So I think that's the difference. Because people talk about like this whole thing. It's hard to make this argument as a lawyer, but it's the truth. It goes against human nature to do things like this, to say, I'll submit, I'll let you, like the most natural thing that a person could do is run from danger. Like nobody wants to be caught. It's the most natural thing, I think. The most natural response to something like this is to try to get away from something that could change and ruin your life. So, but yeah. I don't know, Jamie. Neek said the twins live with Quincy. I'm sure they do now. Or maybe their grandma. They might live with their grandma. Not Rock Nation. That's Janae, right? Angel said those twins are gonna have a story to tell. Their strength and resilience has been tested early. They lost their mom, and I mean, at this point, the life that they knew, as far as being with their dad, is done. It's been done for a while. So Quincy said he takes care of them, and of course, listen, I am an oldest child, just like Quincy is. I could imagine that if my if I lost my mom and I had minor siblings, their daddy would have to fight me for them. Like their daddy would have to fight me for them. But I mean, Quincy is his son too, for all intents and purposes. But if I were Quincy, I would be raising my sisters as well. Um, so yeah. because nobody's going to be able to, especially if what people say about, Kim and how he treated her is true. Nobody's going to be able to instill in them what their mother wanted and keep their perspective and the love, and what their mom would have wanted for them. Nobody's going to be able to do that better than Quincy. So, yeah. I agree. Janae said Quincy's been, I haven't really seen him much at all. Um, I agree. I agree. He's been keeping his distance. As far as we know, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but publicly, yeah. Carlissa said it's been longer than that. I remember seeing like a couple posts post Kim Porter passing away, of like, still them as a family. But again, social media is, perspective is everything. These like photo shoots, and I don't know if those are new, old, like who knows. I don't think I've seen anything with them out, like together live, but there's no way to really know. Yeah. But yeah, so the motion was denied. The proposition was denied flat out. It wasn't like the state said or the judge said, "Oh, I'll consider it." No. And then they just go into the details about what, they've already talked about. The warrants, how public they were, that he gave up his passport to his attorney, um, that they agreed to keep a log and, let the government know where they were traveling to, which are all things they don't have to do. And all things I could imagine his attorney had to convince him to do, because again, this goes against human nature. Like, what I look like telling the government where I'm going and keep it. They haven't, like, come get me. Right? So I get it. His attorney did a really good job of trying to set up, the possibility that he is not a flight risk. He's not going to go anywhere. But ultimately, the government is going to say that was cute. But the difference is he was free at that point. The difference now the issue is he's been indicted. So, ooh, Carlissa said, I'm almost positive that he did an interview speaking out against Diddy. If you see it, please send it to me. I have not seen that. Neek, I don't know if this is the package is the house in Miami. I don't know if that's in his mom's name or what, but it's the house that he has in Miami. Okay, 80.5, y'all. We got another 20K, and I got like maybe another 15 minutes in me. I think we could do it. I believe in us. I believe in us. But let's see what else is in here. He voluntarily relocated. Okay, we knew that. Gave up the passport. So this is just an explanation of what we saw. He paid off the mortgage, and they go through the standard, right? He's presumed to be innocent. That's true all across the country. That's true in theory. A lot of times it's not true in practice, which is why most of the people in jail have not been convicted of a crime. Because we like to say you're presumed innocent, but nah. Um, let's see. When deciding to issue a pretrial release, the Second Circuit has noted that the court should bear in mind that it is only a limited group of offenders who should be denied bail pending trial, right? U.S. versus Shakur. I wonder if that's Asada. Shakur. I'm gonna look that up. U.S. versus Shakur. Um, Indeed, the Bail Reform Act requires that the court impose the least restrictive condition or combination of conditions that will reasonably assure the appearance of the person as required and the safety of the community. All that's saying is, listen, the point of pretrial detention. The point of keeping people in jail is not to punish them. It's only if they will not, you believe they won't face justice because they'll flee, or they are a danger to the community. And they're arguing only a small group of people, according to the law, really meet that standard. The problem for that is the charges and the allegations are heinous, right? Like, this is not somebody who, according to the charges, has one victim. His victim is truly the community. Anybody that's worked for him, anybody that he's coerced, that's their argument. And that he's so powerful and has so much money that him being free is not going to, the community wouldn't be safe for him being free. That's their argument. Somebody said from 1987. Yeah, I wonder if that's, oh no, 87. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Assata Shakur has been in what do you call it? Exiled. Not exiles, really, really a fugitive, but I believe it's in the 70s. That's from the 70s, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that would be in the 70s. Um, blah blah blah, burdens, yada yada yada. Who cares? We want the juice. Big Libra said, thank you for having a calm, coherent TikTok live. Some of these lives going on are insufferable. Ooh, I appreciate that. Glad I'm not insufferable. I really appreciate that. That's the last thing I want to be, y'all, because I talk a lot. I'm a talker. I can go on and on and on and on and on. So the goal is to be coherent and intriguing. That's the goal. All right, going through factors. Yeah, yada, yada, yada. Okay, we should probably talk about the factors. Thank you, Janae. Thank you, Cowgirl Cree. Thank you. Period, Michelle. Michelle said no word salad over here. I know that's right. All right. Acknowledging that ST has been a rebuttable presumption, rebuttable presumption of detention. Mr. Combs can rebut such a presumption with evidence that he does not pose a danger to the community and is not a flight risk. So he's saying this charge itself calls for detention, but we can argue against it if we can prove that he's not a flight risk and that he's not a danger to the community. And then the factors he's saying waves, they weigh in favor of Diddy. He's charged with the first factor is the nature and circumstances of the offense. We know what he's charged with. One count alleges that he relied on employees' resources and influence of the multifaceted business empire, that he led and controlled creating a criminal enterprise whose members and associates engaged in and attempted to engage in, among other crimes, ST, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice, etc., etc. So he's listing out all the crimes, blah, blah, blah. These are terrible crimes. This factor does not weigh in favor of releasing him. The charges are terrible. The defendant's history. Do you mean like his criminal history? His history and characteristics are best demonstrated by the way he's responded to the investigation. Again, good attorney work. The history says that he's going to voluntarily participate in this. So when he says history, he means he moved to New York. He turned in his passport. He showed up. He told you guys where he was going to be. That's all he's talking about here. His character has shown, as shown through his demonstrated contributions to society in several important areas. He's given generously over his life to charitable causes. This is true. To name a few examples, since founding Bad Boy Entertainment in 1993, Mr. Combs has actively supported and donated millions to after-school programs and organizations like the Boys and Girls Club of America. Not funny, but if there are allegations that there are underage people involved, yikes. His commitment stems from the positive influence such programs had on his childhood, inspiring him to give back to similar initiatives. He's also supported organizations such as the National Foundation for Teaching Entrepreneurship, further emphasizing his dedication to creating opportunities for young entrepreneurs. Cornerstone of his philanthropy, and he fulfilled a lifelong dream when he, with a partner, opened Capital Preparatory Harlem Academy Charter School. Sorry, I literally said that in my head and read it out loud. In 2016 to provide high quality education to inner city youth in New York City. Okay, he opened a school, donated $1 million to support its development. Janae said they need to stop using the word young. Yeah, they need to stop doing that. Significant contributions to HBCUs, such as a $2 million donation to Howard University, which did they give it back? They took back their honorary degree. I don't know if they gave the money back, but they took back that degree. Tuh. Sorry, y'all. My man is texting me. He said, "Love you, baby. How was your day?" Love you too. Sorry, y'all. Um, Claudia said, "Didn't Howard give the money back?" I know they took the degree, but I don't know if they gave the money back. I'm not sure. Claudia said, "Okay, man. Period." Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay. He's also been proactive in health and disaster relief efforts, raised over $2 million for New York City public schools. Okay, I don't want to undermine what he's done, but this is going through all of the philanthropy and money that he's raised and donated, et cetera, et cetera. Um, and people that he's affected positively based on his contributions to society. And I don't think we can deny that. Um, yeah. Yeah, and that's it pretty much. The proposed bail package addresses any issues with flight and danger to the community. I agree. Everything they offered removed, not completely removes, but it significantly lessens the possibility that he's going to be a flight risk. But ultimately, it didn't matter. Judge said no. Judge said absolutely not. So there's that. But yeah, so this is a case that we will be able to follow from top to bottom. Like literally from arrest throughout anything I don't know if anything is going to be publicized, if the court is going to allow people to video in the courtroom. I'm sure the media will be requesting that. We shall see. Um, but yeah, if they are, I'll be watching. I'm sure y'all will too. Cowgirl Cree said more than one thing can be true. Absolutely. Absolutely. Claudia said, "Do you know what's going on with Kalina?" No. So I saw she made a statement and basically said, "I don't know nothing about that." Said, "I don't know nothing about that." Jamie said no live footage in federal trials too. I don't know why I almost remember that one of these wasn't one of Trump's trials streamed. I know the Georgia one is. Maybe they just set it right outside. Honestly, I don't. I have no idea. But that might be true. I can't even. That might be true. They might not allow. They might not allow cameras in there at all. They should. Janae said the public has a right to know. Absolutely. Okay, no cameras. No cameras. Angel said Puffy's been a menace since the 90s. Let's tell the truth. Are we feeling sorry for him? I don't feel sorry for him. I definitely feel sorry for anybody that is loosely connected with him, and their entire life is gonna shift as a result of this. I feel sorry for his kids. I feel sorry for his mother. I feel sorry for the mothers of his children. Yeah, anybody who's associated with him, obviously the victims. That's a duh. We don't, yeah, I feel sorry. I feel sorry for the way that this will affect the culture. Every time something like this happens, it is a huge stain on Black culture. It's sad to me that people who, because he's not the only one, right? Like multiple people at the center of shifting our culture turned out to be low down, no good, stinking, dirty, not good people as it relates to, mostly probably Black women. I don't think there were any. Oh no, I'll take that back. I think there was at least one non-Black victim of R. Kelly's that we know about. So yeah, it's a sad situation. Like that is a fair. It's just sad, not for him directly, but he doesn't have the it's not a benefit, but we're not in a situation where him going to jail is just going to be him going to jail. Everybody associated with him is going to be punished, right? People that enjoy his music, people that are employed by him, like everybody is affected. It's a cultural thing. So that part is sad, but him seeing justice is not, it just kind of is what it is. And again, let me say this. Y'all know what I do for a living. Y'all know what I do for a living. I hold the government accountable, right, for a living. That's my responsibility, to make sure that they treat you fairly, to make sure that they meet their burden. A lot of times that means to get you out of jail. A lot of times that means to make sure we get a not guilty. It doesn't always mean that. And I've made jokes about this before. I would rather spend my day getting guilty people out of jail than putting innocent people in jail any day. I don't care how many guilty people I have gotten off in my life. It matters not to me. I would be devastated if I found out that I was responsible for putting even one innocent person in jail. So yeah, that's what I do for a living, right? As a profession, as a person who witnesses what goes on in this criminal justice system, I have no qualms about it. So, it is what it is. But as a person, who be like, I don't want to get into my politics, but I'm a person who thinks that the only way to correct this system is a complete overhaul of it, right? It's just not fair. It's just not fair. But what that means is more people, specifically more non-Black people, need to be held accountable. It doesn't mean less Black people need to be held accountable. It means more non-Black people need to be held accountable, right? That's what that means. So when people say, oh, Black men, this is happening to Black men, the response to that is non-Black people who are doing the same thing, they need to be called to the mat too. That's the response. So yeah. Taylor said, I think I want to do health law. Criminal law is scarring me bad. Listen, every day. You see me smiling like I'm not scarred? It's a lie. Yeah, but yeah, so I want to be clear about that, about my, my perspective on it. I see what this system does to Black men every day. I don't support it at all. And I do my best to balance the scale. But the answer to that is to hold all people equitably, hold people accountable across the board, not to that's not the point of it, right? That's the whole point. So Claudia said, abolish, not reform. We got to start from scratch. We got to start from scratch. Angel said they need to be just as loud when the person is not a Black person. Yes, I agree. I agree. 100%. 100%. All right, now to get on. Now I just got on a soapbox. But where we at with them likes? I'm just going through comments now, y'all. My fingers hurt hitting that like button. I know that's right. I appreciate it. Appreciate you lending us your fingers. 89.2. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. We probably not about to get to 100 because it's 7:45. So I think I'm about to get out of here. Do you think that this factor into the Ben and J-Lo divorce? No. Nah. Nah. Angel said, Angel, don't clock me like that. Angel said you ain't going nowhere. I'll be that bad when I say I'm getting off. All right, 90K. I appreciate y'all. We did get tonight. I appreciate it. Thank you, Michelle. I hope you got to wash your dishes before we got a 90K, though. You're welcome, Jazz. Okay, 92. Appreciate it, Nikki. I appreciate y'all. I really do. I do. Let me use this time to introduce myself. I'll just be hopping on here talking for anybody who is new. Um, Jalissa, yes. So I'm gonna save it to my YouTube. It'll be on my YouTube. Claudia says, "Sign it. I love your glasses. Every time you post a new video, I want to buy new frames." Claudia, listen. I probably have like 30 pair of glasses. I love glasses. I be wanting to tell y'all where I get them from, but they need to, they need to shoot something my way before I do that. Um, that lady lawyer. What's your name? That lady lawyer. Also, send me a DM. Um, but I'm looking for a new like a display so I can put them out because I find myself I'll put on one pair and then I'm wearing them for like 2 months and I like to switch them out. So, but yeah, these people need to. Y'all are every day. People be like, "I love your glasses." They better do something if they want me to advertise for them. But yeah, Jalissa, it is. I'm gonna save it to my YouTube. My YouTube is the same as my TikTok. It's E.S.QUIRED. Esquired. Michelle, that's a good idea. I should send them an email. Shayna said, I think we can get to 100K. All right. I'm going to hold out for 100, y'all. I'm holding out. I'm holding out for 100. I believe in us. I definitely believe in us. Y'all, I just realized we've been on live for 2 hours, almost 3 hours. Damn, we've been on here for almost 3 hours. Jesus. And Jeff has not made his way on this live. Thank you, Janae. Come on, Joe. I'm trying to get you know. Jamie, no, I did not have dinner. I'm drinking on this water. I'm hydrated, but hungry. Hydrated, but hungry. Okay, 98. All right, well, while that's happening, Nikki said, am I the only one that's getting tired of the YSL case? Y'all, we all tired. I'm not going to lie. We need a little more action. We need something to pop off to re-energize us because it's exhausting. But if we tired, I mean, what Taylor at? Free the YSL jury. Because if we're tired, imagine how they must feel. Imagine how the lawyers must feel, including Miss Love, but you know what I always say, I have no sympathy for prosecutors being tired because you're prosecuting the case. You asked for this. The defense attorneys didn't ask for this, but Did we hit 100K? All right, y'all. All right, y'all. I know that's right. Yeah, they can't be. They can't be. They gotta be exhausted, y'all. It's no. Taylor said, "Free the jury." They got. Yeah, I can't imagine. I can't imagine. Talk about running from the police and running from the court system. This is the kind of stuff that would make. I wouldn't be surprised if one day they just said, "Oh yeah, I'm not. Take me to jail. I'd rather go to Rice Street. I'd rather go." Thanks, y'all. I appreciate y'all so much. I really do. I really do. I appreciate y'all. I really, really do. I promise I do. So, yeah. I don't know how they doing it. It's exhausting. It's hard to keep up with. It's hard to keep up with, honestly, but we here. So we'll see. Looks like, Miss Love is stalling from what I can see. Because it's obvious, I think, that Quindarius Zachary is sick and maybe not suited to testify. Like he's not suited to testify, even if he wanted to. So yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Shayna. Thank you, Carlissa. Jamie said, have a good night to everybody. Adrian. Y'all listen. No. Are they putting the jurors up in hotels? No. Nope. They got to drive home. They got to drive back. They got to spend that little $25 on gas. Nope. Mm-mm. And whatever CC's pizza they get for lunch. Mm-mm. Y'all, Brian still. I'm going to say this before I go. It's not uncommon that lawyers don't like each other. Like, we're people. Like, it happens. But for Brian Steele to be like, I'm not talking to her, and the judge to be like, okay, Mr. Steele, I know you're not going to talk. Y'all, that is bananas. That is bananas. That's not normal. He be like, I don't care. Tell Miss Hilton to tell me what's going on because I don't want to talk to you. He can't stand her. And that is, y'all. Mm-mm. He can't stand her. Janae said he set a boundary, and I love that for him. It's a hard line boundary, too. Hard line. Like, he is done. I don't care. Get somebody else to do it. I'm not talking to her. Meet with her. Call her on the phone. I bet he blocked her. I'm sure she's blocked. Mm-mm. But yeah. Again, we're at the end, y'all. I appreciate y'all for everything, everything, everything. If you are new here, follow if you haven't already. I hope you share the live. We obviously like it a lot. If you are on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe. If you're on TikTok, you should definitely click the link in my bio. I'm pretty sure it's in there to go to subscribe to my YouTube channel. My name is Arian White. I am a defense attorney, criminal defense attorney in Miami, Florida, owner of White House Law Group. This was not an advertisement, but if by chance you have been arrested or know somebody who's been arrested in the state of Florida, I would happily represent them. I think my contact info is also in my bio, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you, Jalissa. Thank you, thank you. Yes, please go subscribe to my YouTube. It's at E.S.QUIRED, E.S.QUIRED or Esquired. If y'all didn't catch that, the ES, so my maiden name is Stirrup. My name is Arian Stirrup White. So the ES is my initial. You get it? Like E.S.QUIRED. Okay, that's where that came from. Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So that's all I got for tonight. Again, I appreciate y'all. I do my best to try to announce when I'm going live, but I'm a talker, so sometimes I just be wanting to go live. But I'll do my best. Like I said, I'm shifting over to YouTube as far as live content. So please go subscribe to my YouTube channel. And yeah, we will keep track of what's going on. and I'll update y'all as I learn more information. Also, if you see a case or information that you think I'll be interested in, please DM me. I do my best to respond. I can't respond to everybody, but I try. So yeah, feel free to send me a DM. I really appreciate y'all, all of your supports. And where are we at? 104. Yes, 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 yes. Thank you. Jamie, how the hell did you get in YouTube jail? Jamie, I am following the Adelson case. I'm from Florida. I will be talking about the Adelson case. I watched the earlier trials, so I'll definitely be talking about the Mama Adelson case. And yeah, Jamie, send me a DM, y'all. I don't know how Jamie ended up in YouTube jail, but me and her will talk about that. But yeah, I will be following the Adelson trial. I'm super interested in it, and we'll talk about it. You know what it is on another day if you don't already know. But yeah. So that's it. That's all I got. Y'all have a great night. Y'all be safe. Yeah, that's it. Bye.